If you're planning your trip to Japan and you're still trying to be money conscious, you're going to want to watch this video all the way through because you're going to be able to save yourself some money. I'm going to be dividing this video into a few sections right here, and in no way are these tips going to be dampening your fun. Alright, let's get started. Let's start with the lowest hanging fruit, and this is going to be your flight. If you're looking to have the biggest savings, then this is where you need to start. The flight to anywhere can drastically change depending on the time of the year, but let me just tell you that Christmas and New Year's times is so expensive, it could be 2 to 3 times more expensive than the rest of the year. Unless going to Japan during the holidays is your only option, I recommend picking another time of the year, or if you can, just try to shift those dates a little bit before or a little bit after because you can save yourself hundreds of dollars. If you're able to be just a little bit flexible, you're gonna save yourself some money. Also, if you're wondering about other Japanese holidays like Golden Week and you're worried that it's going to be crowded but the flights are not that bad, I would still pick the cheaper flight versus going at the holiday time because I went during Golden Week and I honestly didn't think it was that bad. Having a less expensive flight will make a huge difference in your trip and in your wallet. Another tip regarding flights is that arrival time does matter when you get to the airport in Japan. The reason the arrival time makes a difference is because let's say your flight arrives really late at night. The trains and buses, they do stop at a certain time, so you'll either have to spend a lot of money from a taxi ride, find an accommodation to stay at, or you'll have to spend the night in the airport. Time is money, so if you have the power to pick an earlier arrival time in the day, opt for that. If you want more details regarding this, I do cover a lot of logistics in my free beginner's guide to Japan. It's a free download and you can find that in the description below. Also, if you like what you see so far, I would love it if you would click that subscribe button. Here at Build Your Moxie, if I'm not talking about travel or Japan, I'm talking about money. I like to be good with my money so I can travel to Japan a lot. Okay, on to the next tip. After the flight, the next best place to save money is going to be your accommodation. When you're in Japan, you can go cheap, or you can go very expensive. There's capsule hotels, love hotels, ryokan type hotels, hostel type hotels, Airbnbs, and also regular hotels, and they can go very, very cheap. You just have to search around for the price that you're comfortable with. For us, we like to look on booking.com because we feel like we can get some good prices. There's also a little hack that I've heard, but I've never tried it myself. What I've heard is you can change your VPN to the country that you're traveling to, so Japan for instance, and you can actually get cheaper flights and hotels there. I've heard it works, but I've never personally done it myself. There's a lot of creative ways to save money out there, but I wanted to mention something. Just because you found an accommodation that is really cheap or a flight that's really cheap, if it's not part of your travel style, you're gonna be miserable. So just because it's super affordable does not always mean it's right for you. Here's an example. When we went to Singapore, we wanted to try one of those tiny hotels, so we stayed in one of those little capsule hotels, and it was really cheap. It was like under $30 a night. It was incredibly clean, very beautiful. It was comfortable, but here's the thing. I need a lot of space, and I was pretty much over it in 2 hours, so we had to stay there for a few days. It was not that great, so I really wish I just listened to my own advice and just done an actual hotel. So that's why I wanted to mention for you, if you know that that's not part of your travel style, then don't make yourself miserable. I don't want this video to get too long, but in that free beginner's guide to Japan, I do cover some hotel tips. So honestly, if you can just stick to the first few tips I've mentioned, you're already doing so good. Okay, next tip. There are thousands of things that you can do in Japan, literally thousands, probably millions of things you could do, but I wanted to mention this. If you're looking for an excellent way to feel like you don't have to spend money, honestly, get on the subway and just go for an adventure. Get off at every stop. Some of the best places that we've found and some of our most favorite places we've found because we've explored slowly. So what you gotta do is just walk around, take it slow, absorb in all that Japanese culture. It is so much fun. That's our actual favorite way to travel, and I highly recommend you just give it a try. All right, next tip. If you are going to be booking a popular attraction, and I'm talking Shibuya Sky, Teamland Planets, Tokyo Disneyland or Disney Sea, Tokyo Skytree, and one of those really popular ones you see on all over the socials, you're going to want to make sure you get that at a good price. How I like to book my funtivities is I like to book through something called Klook, who is the sponsor of this video. If you don't know what Klook is, it's an activities-based app for traveling, and they have the best prices. What you do is you find your activity, you find your date, you buy it, and then you get a QR code to scan it when you get to the place. It's super easy, and there's a bunch of languages and different currencies, and there's no international transaction fees, which is pretty cool. I use Klook for all my Japan trips. I use it for my shuttle buses. I get it for my Shinkansen tickets now. You can get hotels there. I use it for all my excursions like have mini pigs and Tokyo team-wide borderless. They have sushi making classes, glass blowing classes. They have rickshaw rides that you can reserve. You can even go to a sumo wrestling show if you want. And right now they're celebrating their 10th birthday, so they're having a huge sale throughout October. So there's a lot of buy one, get one. And I think I saw that go-karting was like 40% off. There's a lot of deals going on. So if you're going to Japan in the next few months, try and look at the sale because you can save up to 60% off. I'll have my link in the description below as well as a discount code for you. If you do miss the sale, then I highly recommend just signing up for their emails because all throughout the year they have all these flash sales like 15 or 25 or 40% off, so you can get a lot of good deals if you're going to be going to Japan a lot later. Even if you don't buy anything, if you have decision fatigue, which I get a lot of the times because there's so many things to do in Japan, just use Klook as a search engine. You can just look up that city and see what's popular to do there. Okay, let's talk about saving money when it comes to connecting to the interwebs. Now in Japan, there's a lot of free Wi-Fi, but for me, I like to have peace of mind and know that I'm connected at all times. Internet is important in Japan, and unless you're a Japan traveling pro, you may struggle a little bit without internet because it might be hard to find your restaurant or your hotel or the place that you need to go. Now, if you're looking to save money in this area, then let me tell you that a digital eSIM is the way to go. It's a lot more cost effective than an international phone plan or a pocket Wi-Fi. A lot of international phone plans don't work that well, and they're kind of expensive. They're like $50 per person for your trip, and then if it's not even working that well, what's the point? That's what happened to me my first time, so I know of some really bad ones. Message me on Instagram if you want to know which phone companies are really bad. And then sometimes for the companies that are really good, there's a few that's really good. Sometimes for the companies that are really good, they're still like $5 to $10 a day, so that can add up, especially if your trip is a little longer. But yes, feel free to message me on Instagram. I'll just put it right here on the screen. In the end, if your phone allows it, I recommend getting a digital eSIM. If you don't know what an eSIM is, an eSIM works by letting you connect to another mobile network without having to swap physical SIM cards. Most newer phones have an eSIM option. I've been using Airalo eSIM all over Japan. I've used it the last 2 trips and it was awesome. I went to the countryside, it works on the trains, it works on the Shinkansens, it works when you're going really fast. It was about $18 for 10 gigabytes, which is perfect for a 10-day trip. So I may have a code for you. I'll link it down in the description below. What I recommend is downloading the Airalo app because you can easily top off your plan in the app as well when you're in Japan. Next tip, if you're needing some cash, then I highly recommend going to an ATM. In Japan, it's called 7-Bank, and you can find these ATMs in 7-Eleven convenience as well as in the airport. The exchange rate is really fair and they accept a lot of foreign credit card and debit cards. When I land at the airport, I can usually find a 7-Bank ATM, so that's where I like to get my cash to start. Then I'll go to 7-Elevens throughout the trip if I need to. And when you're doing transactions, you can see what will be charged, and I really appreciate that. Okay, let's talk shopping. I'm a big shopper when I get to Japan. I love shopping at Don Quixote and Uniqlo and Bit Camera. There's so many different places to go, and I just love bringing a lot of stuff home. I'll also link below some of my favorite items and some of my shopping hauls. When you go shopping for anything, and this includes pharmacies and the mall, make sure you bring your passport with you. When you do that, you can save yourself around 10% of your entire purchase because you're shopping tax-free. What I like to say is just bring your passport and show it when you're checking out, and they'll apply the discount if able. When in doubt, whip it out. The passport. Also, I wanted to mention real quick, I am so sorry that I'm talking so fast. Literally, when it comes to Japan, I get really excited. So my voice gets higher and my voice gets faster when I get excited. So sorry about that. Okay, let's talk about the next tip. If you are in the process of Japlanning, you've probably heard about the Japan Rail Pass or the JR Pass. So I'm about to save you a lot of money right now. Don't get it. Just a little recap about what the JR Pass is. The JR Pass lets you ride a lot of the trains and a lot of the bullet trains unlimited for a set price. It used to be a really good deal, and then at the end of 2023 there's a price increase, so now it's completely not worth it. Too bad. It's extremely hard to get your money's worth. You'd have to ride the train like far every day in order to get your money's worth. I'm gonna link a couple resources below on how you can get around Japan without a Japan Rail Pass. One is a video on how to use the subways in Japan. It also talks about a lot of transit cards, aka IC cards. In this video, I guide you and show you what to look for. You'll get the hang of it. Honestly, subways are my favorite. I'm a subway girly. Another is a video on how to buy a Shinkansen ticket, a bullet train ticket, at the kiosk in Japan. I show you which buttons to click and what tickets will come out of the machine. However, I know that buying tickets at the kiosk can be really confusing still, so let me show you what I've been doing, and I've been doing it through Klook because duh, I'm a Klook super fan, but let me just show you how I buy my Shinkansen tickets. Okay, so what you're gonna do, you're gonna open up the Klook app. You're gonna be searching up Japan Shinkansen and train tickets. And then what you do is you just put in a place. Let's say we're going from Tokyo to Osaka. Go Tokyo to Osaka, put the departure date in. You're gonna click search, and all you do is you just scroll at the price that you want. And the good thing is, once you buy this, you can actually just get a QR code from the app, and then you go scan that in one of the ticket machines, and these ticket machines are going to be at all the major train stations. So it's going to be at Shibuya Station, Shinjuku Station, Tokyo Station, Osaka Station, Kyoto Station. You get what I mean? So this is how I've been reserving my Shinkansen tickets ahead of time. You may be able to try the code. It might work, the one I put in the description below, but pretty much when you buy it through Klook, it is easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, next tip. Let's talk about food. Now, when it comes to food in Japan, literally everything is so affordable, so you're not going to have a lot of money savings here compared to everything else I talked about before. But here's just a little tip. If you're going to be going to a fancier restaurant, let's say like a sit-down restaurant, and you had to make a reservation, try to make a reservation or try to get there for lunchtime, because sometimes it's the same meal, lunch and dinner, but the prices are a lot cheaper. So this is just a fun tip I wanted to share with you. You're gonna end up going to the konbini anyways at nighttime, so you might as well just eat your fancy lunch at lunchtime and then do whatever dinner, go to ramen or go to conveyor belt sushi or just eat at the konbini. Save yourself a little bit of money if it's a fancier place. Also, this is only sometimes the case, not all the time, but it's still worth looking into. Okay, the next tip is a really random tip, but I wanted to mention if you're a sushi lover and you're still trying to be cost effective, and let's say you're a college student and you don't have a lot of money and you really are on a tight budget, I just want to say that when you go to a conveyor belt sushi place, I literally left every single time full and happy, and I was surprised every time how little money that I spent. So if you're a sushi loving fanatic, then totally try the conveyor belt sushi. But honestly, so much food in Japan is so affordable, so just go and have fun. Okay, next tip. When it comes to traveling in Japan, time is money. Do your research ahead of time and save yourself some time and some stress. If you would like, I have a free travel budget and planner that I'll link below. It includes a travel research tab, a budget tab, an expense tracker, a to-do list tab, a packing list tab, itineraries tab. It's my gift to you for happy travels. In the end, if you budgeted for this trip, then don't even worry about it. That's how we like to travel. No mess, no stress, worry-free. If you're curious to see how we save for our vacations, I'll put some resources in the description below. Alrighty, thanks for talking money and Japan with me, my two favorite topics. I'll link more on the screen right here.